The Disrupt Education vlog can be found on YouTube. To hear it in podcast form, search Disrupt Education on any of the following podcast platforms: Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Breaker, Castbox, Overcast, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Spotify, or Stitcher. Welcome to this episode of Disrupt Education. I got a very special guest, Mr. Derrick Lopez here. Derrick, how are you today?
Good. How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you got going on.
So my name's Derrick Lopez. I'm the founder of Stand Up Our Kids, LLC, and I founded the company 2 years ago, pretty much on the premise of a life experience that kind of changed everything for me. And in a nutshell, my son broke his leg, got in a wheelchair for 4 months in kindergarten, and all of that sedentary behavior created some light bulbs for me. And one thing led to another, and I started a student standing desk company. We're one of the only ones in the country, or maybe one of the only ones in the world, that manufactures standing desks for students exclusively and only. And so, yeah, we've been in business for over a year and a half, and we have our product in 8 states. And I also am pretty heavy on all the platforms pushing out the message that we need to quit the sedentary behavior and really, like the name says, stand up our kids and get them off their butts and get them living their lives.
So your journey into this is pretty amazing because you have a personal challenge that happened in your life, but in our previous discussion, tell us, like, you never had any experience like building a desk or going into manufacturing. Tell us that journey, because that's very interesting, because it's kind of your educational path into your business.
Yes, totally. So I have a business degree, and I have a degree in business administration, and I've always aspired to be a business owner. My father is a business owner. My grandfather was a business owner, and so I never really had a marriage to any one industry. I just wanted to contribute. And so when this happened, the episode happened, and I thought to myself, okay, if I put myself out there, if I try to manufacture a desk, if I start this company, if I start trying to sell to schools, I don't have education experience, I don't have engineering experience, how am I going to do this? And honestly, it was like what a millennial would do. I opened my phone, I pressed YouTube, and then I just searched what I was looking for, and the snowball kind of built up. And so, and as a salesperson, I thought the first thing I need to do when I start, this process is make sure that everyone around me has a good first impression, right? Whether it's the manufacturing partners or the teachers or whoever I'm talking to, I got to have that conviction. I got to be passionate about this. They got to believe me. Do I really want to do this? And so I thought about it, and I said, yes, I'm like ridiculously passionate about this. Like, this is definitely what I want to do. And so that conviction, when talking to my manufacturing partner, they felt it. The teachers and the schools that test piloted the prototype, they felt it. Because really, when I was engineering this product, I thought to myself, okay, I don't know how to draw renderings. I don't know CAD. I've never used CAD. But, let me ask the manufacturer if I can just draw it on a piece of paper and put the right measurements. And then can they use their manufacturing expertise to figure out a prototype? And the answer was yes. They're like, look, just draw it up, take some pictures of it with your phone and send it to us. And so it took me a while. I screwed up a bunch, but I did it. And then those renderings turn into a live, real, tangible prototype like 2 weeks later. When those prototypes were in my front door, that's when I was like, okay, this is real now. Like, I have a product to provide. And once you take the step, into the unknown, and things you don't know, you will educate yourself. You have adaptation skills. Like, you are designed to learn and adapt and grow and develop at anything.
Right.
So that's kind of where it happened.
So you've seen success in the classroom with the kids who are actually using the desk, right? So, when you and I were in elementary school, I'm assuming you were the same as me. We sat down, we had to be in rows and those types of things. And now, we're learning that a more active classroom is a better learning space. Tell us a little bit about some of the stories in classrooms that teachers and students and parents are telling you about your product and how it's changing the way education is happening.
So what you said there from the assigned seat thing, what I've collected is that assigned seats deactivate a little but very big decision in a child's day. So an assigned seat literally deactivates this opportunity to make a decision for yourself as a student and how you learn. And I think that is serving an injustice to the education audience, to the students that are flowing through the system. Look, if 200 days a year you are given a choice to select your learning space out the gates, like writing your name on the test, right? This is like a fish in water. It's just so defaulted in your brain that it literally teaches self-awareness, right? And this will allow these students to grow into human beings saying, that's not how I learn. I learn best here, not there. And they will literally, their brains are now defaulting to self-assess the second they walk through the door. So it's like, all right, Derrick in 1989 went to kindergarten and didn't have that opportunity to activate that psychology in his brain, right? He had to sit in the same seat, assigned seat, can't even think about it. It's not even an opportunity. I got to sit there, and that's what they said. You fast forward to 2019 Derrick with our products in those classrooms, the teacher is telling them, I understand. You want a choice. Here's your choice. That experience right there for a student is mind-blowing. I mean, think about it. I never even thought it was possible to literally raise my butt off of the seat in 1989.
Yeah.
And now we have kids that go into a classroom and never sit down for the whole class.
Right.
So the spectrum is so huge right now of what we can provide kids. Again, this is kind of a flexible learning conversation of the beanbag and the stools and the Starbucks vibe, but it's providing so much more power than people realize. And I'm telling you this from what the parents and the teachers are telling me, and I'm telling you what happened to my son. In second grade, my son was like a bottom 5, bottom 10 reader, sedentary, distractions, just we put in the standing desk, and the accountability piece came in. We said, look, we're going to give you this standing desk. I get it. You got the energy, the fidgets. I need you to take this and run with it and focus, because if you don't focus, do your work, stay on task, enjoy your learning experience, the desk's going to get taken away from you, right? He constantly held himself accountable, thinking to himself, well, before I do that, I should probably think, because if I do that, then the standing desk is taken away. And the standing desk getting taken away is actually, we have to be careful. I'll play devil's advocate. I guys will tell you the good, bad, and the ugly. It's not always the best thing, because, these kids love it so much right now. It's so new. It's so novelty. It's that they're now getting sad when it's taken away. So This is really powerful stuff. Beyond like, hey, just let the kid stretch his knees and stretch her back and stand up. It's healthy. It's literally helping them develop in their brains the right way to make choices for themselves.
And it's interesting because over the past couple of years, I've been in the education business for about 20 years now. And as a teacher, one of the things that we have are kind of, now they're getting us the stand-up things that go on top of your desk and those types of things, and why we wouldn't ever think this is beyond me. I love how this has so many different realms of just growing and becoming, like, the students become their own owners of their choices and their actions, and what you said about the taking away, like, okay, you have to sit here, and now I just have to be obedient and I can't make any decisions for myself, is mind-blowing. Something as simple as a desk and then now how this thing is growing. So where do you see this going from today on? You're in 8 states now, which is incredible. How do you see this changing education beyond what it's already done?
So the optimum goal, and it might take me 10, 20 years to do it, is to have a few standing desks in every classroom and have it as the norm, right? Right now, how do you create something to be the norm and culture? You just got to put in the work, constant, be relentless. And, honestly, it might take me 5 years just to build up a juicy enough audience to think this is real enough to push it, right? So, what I do think is that we're in a seed planting mode right now, right? Because I'm going to go ahead and put myself out there to say that 100, unless the thing like breaks and it's just, some kind of crazy freak accident, I'm going to say 100% of the time, this is going to be a good experience when you get a desk, right? Because of so many things. The kids that use it are going to be excited. The kids that aren't necessarily brave enough or, willing to step out of that comfort zone and try it are going to see as like, oh, Jack and Jill are using this at, their school in the classroom. Maybe mom and dad, can you get me this at home? It's just,
right.
There's so many, then, another parent hears that, their disruptive child is getting recommended to go to a therapist. And then the other disruptive child in the other classroom gets the standing desk. So now one family, doesn't get the opportunity to use a standing desk. They still have to go to the therapist and check out if their kid's ADHD, while the other family it's off their plate because their kid has a standing desk. It's not an issue anymore. Like, we're literally taking these ADHD, like, possible, diagnosis and taking them off the radar.
Mm-hmm.
So now, this is not a stab at the system. This is a stab at culture, right? Our culture is designed that if the kids can't sit still, the kid's fidgety, the kid's moving around too much, let's talk to the parents. And if it continues, then we talk to the therapist. And if it continues, then we use a medication. If it continues, we use a treatment program. And now all of a sudden your kid's on a treatment program because his foot fidgets and he distracts people because he stands up periodically.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Now that kid's off the radar if you give him a standing desk. Now, I'm not saying ADHD is not real. Right. I'm just saying that we don't shortcut anymore, right? It's like we take the standing desk, we put it there. Now, if these issues still continue, then you continue your conversation. But it's a nice, simple intervention that's going to help these students that don't want to sit down for 6-7 hours a day.
I almost want to take intervention and take that out and just say, look, this is a strategy. This is a different strategy. This is a strength that a kid has in the classroom that it's not the quote unquote normal strength of what an obedient kid, however we describe that in our culture. And that's why I love your product so much. I love the passion into this, because this is now allowing more students to really see that, they do belong. They do actually can contribute. They can make choices for themselves, and it's opening such a cool realm. Watching your journey and the journey of the students on this is spectacular, and I think a lot more people need to see this. It's disrupting education, right?
Yes, it really is.
In a good way. And so where can people find you and the product?
So if you go to Twitter, you can go find me at Stand Up Our Kids. You can also go to Instagram and find us there at the same Stand Up Our Kids. You can also find me on Instagram at Stand Up Dad. And then if you're on Facebook, you can find us at Stand Up Our Kids. And then Snapchat, you can find me at Stand Up Dad. Medium, you can find me at Stand Up Dad. YouTube, you can find me at Stand Up Dad. LinkedIn, you can find me at Derrick, quote unquote, Stand Up Dad Lopez. Is that all of them?
I think so. What kind of advice would you have for, I teach high school business, so I always ask entrepreneurs like yourself, people who have found a passion and looked into something and just went for it. What kind of advice would you give to a young person who has a passion for something, and yet the education system kind of scoffs at it, or it's a little bit outside the realm?
So our system is set up at this point in time, and I have really high hopes for the future, I think this is going to change. I really do. But our system at the current time, we're coming off of this wave of creating workers, right? And creating this industrialized type setup where, once you've graduated from the education system, you have a stamp to go get a job, right? Now, and I'm not hating on that, because I do think there's a lot of validity, positivity, and really, really great, wonderful things coming out of that. The bonus and gravy that you get for living in the United States of America is the opportunities that entrepreneurship give you. You can incorporate on LegalZoom right now for $150. So for $150, you can walk around and tell people that you have an LLC. And I'm saying that to the 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old, 19, 20-year-old kid who's looking for more ownership in their own ambition, right? And this is why I love our standing desk, because it gives kids ownership. And the only way you're going to get ownership is not from your teacher. It's not from your mom. It's not from your uncle. It's not from anyone except yourself. And you have to have a certain degree of selfishness in order to get yourself to selflessness. And so do not let society trick you. Do not let society make you think that selfishness is bad. There's good selfishness. Good selfishness means you're taking care of yourself. You're good with yourself. You feel good about who you are. And then once you can rest that down, you can get outside of yourself and make an impact and give to others. You will never become an entrepreneur, a true entrepreneur, without impact. You can flip stuff on eBay and then put entrepreneur in your title, but you're not making an impact on society, so you're on a short-term gain. I've sold anything you can think of on eBay. I mowed lawns. I've always had 2 jobs. I still have 2 jobs. I don't think I've ever not had 2 streams of income, because I own it. It's my career. It's my goals. And there have been multiple jobs where I've walked in on day 5. This sucks. I don't want to do it. I'm leaving. Bye. And I have to tell you, you need to be a relentless lion, not a gazelle. You need to be a relentless lion on owning your life, owning your goals. And your mom and dad are going to have opinions. Your cousin who's been, goofing around with you for the last 10 years and sees these new habits that you're doing, it's going to make fun of you, right? What are you doing, bro? You think you're an entrepreneur? You're going to get made fun of. You're going to get into some uncomfortable stuff. Mm-hmm. But if you own it, it's yours.
That's spectacular advice. And I can see how stand up our kids can make this start to become a spark of owning. It's amazing what you're doing. Thank you so much for being on Disrupt Education.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, huge disruptor. We're going to watch your journey. We're going to see this blow up. 8 states so far. And by the time this comes out, maybe in a week, you'll probably be in 10. So we'll see.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be awesome.
Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, keep disrupting. We'll see you.
Thanks, guys.